Laipply podcast.
waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno.
That's a word in Arabic. That means some shit to them.
dawladda Mareykanka qabo waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka qabo.
We know that Somali refugees and Somali Americans are truly people in this nation that have provided such strength and value to who we are. I know Somali Americans, like every American, so many of the ethnic groups that make the fabric of our nation, they have shown such strength in their contributions to make our nation stronger and better. It is absolutely unconscionable to me, unimaginable to me, that a president of the United States would use such vile, hurtful, demeaning, and degrading rhetoric about any group of Americans.
And white Americans will soon be a minority, and that's great.
You know, whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and, you know, progress of our country.
We are going to be a white minority very, very soon. I'm okay with that.
If things are so bad, as you say, with the white working class, don't you want to get new Americans in?
America is going to look very different in 100 years. You're not going to be able to tell you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Puerto Rican, whatever. It's going to be very complex, and I think ultimately that's going to be good.
White Americans feel that they're losing their country, they're losing ownership of the country, and they're right. In the end, they are not the future.
For the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
The white population is declining for the first time in history in America.
White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority.
Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
To abolish whiteness is to abolish white people.
White people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? We got to take these motherfuckers out.
Was it or was it not the duty of every good revolutionary to kill all newborn white babies?
We have to kill white people.
When do we start killing white people?
I don't want to say we need to go start killing all white folks, but it's like, but maybe.
When we say we want to kill whitey, we don't really mean we want to kill whitey, we do.
We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem.
Fuck white people!
An unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
This is going to shock you, but it was the Gates Foundation. Yep. So what did they unveil this week? A globally interoperable digital identity infrastructure that permanently tracks every individual's vaccine status from birth. If you think because Donald Trump is in the White House that they have paused for one single moment, I am here to make it very clear to you that that is not accurate.
Joining with Republicans to vote yes. Another 47 voted present so that they wouldn't be seen as supporting President Trump and angering their base. That included House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democratic Whip Catherine Clark, and the Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar. They said impeachment should be a sacred tool. It requires comprehensive investigations, including hearings. And overall, the Democrats are pretty frustrated that their colleagues are beginning to weaponize impeachment. One senior Democratic member telling Axios, quote, "It feels like a lot of people are using the impeachment stuff as a campaign tactic." Now, although this attempt by Congressman Green was defeated, it represented a big shift in the numbers from his last impeachment resolution in June, which had just 79 members voting with him. This time he got 140 Democrats on board. Meantime, cabinet members like Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, and RFK Jr. are facing their own impeachment threats.
Minus $52.8 billion. That's a better, lower trade deficit than we expected. We were looking for a number closer to $62 billion, and that follows a revised minus $59 billion. Minus $52 billion would be the lightest going back to, wow, we're really going back. Well, my records go back to 1992, and to find a smaller number than mine is 52 billion, we're all the way back to June of 2020. 236,000 is initial jobless claims. So the 191.
Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
it was a terrorist attack.
Wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation.
All right, Friday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Let me say it, everybody in the chat. Greg Ninemon is on. Sedens Moore, 53 is on. Scooter Magruder is on. General Plowman is on. Guitar Glenn is on. JGCK is on. Barn Evil is on. Mr. Cool Dude is on. JD Joy 25 is on. Agravane is on. Mr. Cool Dude is on. Auntie Mama 07 is on. General Plowman is on. Buckeye Nut 1968 is on. Robin Aroni is on. R Star 77 is on. Let me see here. N Johns 127 is on. Jeannie Malfeasy is on. Supergirl 21 is on. Richard Perry is on. Hefner's on. Let me see here. Veronica 18201 is on. Sheila K is on. 1961 Kid is on. Release the Hog is on. D9597 is on. Jim Brody is on. Arcadia Angel is on. Scrolling down. Sexy Pony is on. Gloyd Shaw is on. TJ T1 is on. Volvo 960 is on. Sunwoo 45 is on. Uncle Wally is on. Keeper 1376 is on. Big Jim Go Blue is on. Granite 2468 is on. Keeper 1376 is on. K4 VMS is on. Stephen Toms is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Luann 5 is on. Trev McGroin is on. Let me see. Let me grab a couple more here. Be Chilled is on. Kentucky Lady is on. Grab a couple more. If I didn't say it already, Mike Griffith is on. Let me see here. E. Marcus is on. Mark 1069 is on. Grabbing a couple more here as I see them. They're new. If I haven't hit them yet, let me see here. Captain Cliff is on. All right, one more. Blade Runner is on. Let's go and end on. Just one or two things off of the pregame. And again, I apologize if this is redundant for some of you. I didn't get to scream about it last night. I was paying attention to all of the news last night with the Secretary Noem hearing, everything else. I was paying attention to it, but I didn't get to talk about it, so I apologize if it's redundant to you, if it's gone viral, you've heard enough of it. But anyway, so you had the latest impeachment of Al Green. Of course, we all know Al Green is a nut. He claims to be a victim of racism and everything else. He basically is. He thinks of himself as the second coming of Martin Luther King. He's the second coming of I don't know, ghetto trash. But anyway, Al Green. So he impeached Trump again. This is one of a myriad of impeachments that Al Green has put forward. Here's the scary thing about it. Now things are not looking good for us in the midterms. They're not looking good, and the reason why is there's no RNC, there's no Republican Party. It's gone back into basically, and this was pretty much shown in the elections that we shouldn't have won, but we should have done way better in. Gubernatorial race, Virginia, Jersey. We did win a special election recently in Tennessee not by the margins that we should have won, although it was a clear victory. So, but anyway, the midterms are not looking good as far as poll numbers are concerned. And these are somewhat reliable numbers, whether it's from Polymarket or Rasmussen. So it's not like these are liberal poll numbers. So they're not looking super good. So, and again, if you look at the activity, and everyone needs to look at this. So we just lost the mayorship in Miami. First time in decades that there's now going to be a Democratic governor in the city of Miami. So it's not good. And the reason being is it's either they're all really part of the same subject matter. Limp-wristed, non-committal Republicans, very much like lukewarm Christians. You're like, Tom, why do you always have to parallel? Because it's a perfect parallel. And everything really is the same that's under the sun. It really is. Everything's the same. One thing, if God stipulates in his word that this is weakness, then it's weakness no matter how you apply it to life. Lukewarm, non-committal people are very ineffectual, except in pulling together a coalition of lukewarm, limp-wristed people. Now, what are most people? Lukewarm, limp-wristed people. So they end up being conquered. They end up being ruled over by totalitarians and then griping about it. Well, that is really the state of the Republican Party. Remember, there was really no difference during COVID. The Republicans were whoring vaccines, pimping vaccines, whoring masks, social distancing, bragging about closing down. Saw people in my own church putting it online. This is why I stay home to save grandma. Nobody was saving anybody. That very same person now acts like a COVID activist as if she was against it the whole time. A limp-wristed, go-with-the-flow person. But that's the problem is, and this is what I'm talking about. This, and you're like, weren't you just talking about an impeachment? Yeah, I'm going to bring it home. So, I mean, Al Green, this time, he got only, I believe, 79 Democrats last time to sign on to his ridiculous impeachment 6 months ago. Well, now he's got basically twice as many, 140 signed on. This shows you what is going to happen when we lose the midterms. And I say when we lose the midterms because unless there is an RNC, unless there is a revolution inside of the Republican Party, we are going to lose. Because what Republicans always believe will work is if you cede ground to your opponent, they're then going to accept you. And I could say cede ground on a myriad of things. It doesn't matter what it may be. And I heard somebody, and I would give due credit, but I can't remember who it was, talking about it in these, when they're being interviewed. I think it might have been Nick Fuentes was talking about it. He says, if you go because of his interview with Piers Morgan, he goes, a lot of people, what they expect you to do is when you go into these interviews, that you are going to then cede ground and then win over your interrogator, win over your political, theological, philosophical opponent. You are not. You just simply then have shown them that you're a coward. You hold your ground. That's what you do. And I'm not talking about when you are proven, like Dave Rubin was by Larry Elder, flat out proven wrong, then you say it. But when you're not wrong, you do not cede ground. You don't go, well, you know what? It's hearkening back to COVID, where you had Republicans saying, you know what? We're against masking. We believe in opening safely. The moment that you say that anything needs to be opened, what? Safely. Thank you, Aaron. You can fill in those gaps anytime. Yep. Looking for you as my congregation. If you cede the ground and you're even saying that you do have to open safely, then you've given them an open door to their agenda and narrative. You have now ceded ground to them. You never do that, and that's what Republicans do it all the time. The mayor that just lost or the guy running for mayor that lost in the mayor elections down in Miami, he lost because he's Republican, fiscally, but, he understands trans people. Oh, you're done. You're done because now people like me aren't coming out. Now, someone like me will come out and vote for lesser of two evils. Now, I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not anymore. I don't know. I have done that, and like I told you 6 years, just letting everybody know who I was 6 years ago. Who I was 6 years ago was a conservative, absolute hellfire, brimstone, Christian, Reagan, Republican. Now I am just a hellfire and brimstone Christian and just watching the Republican Party like a hawk. And I really don't even consider myself to be Republican, except obviously their platform is certainly way better than the demonic, murderous platform of the Democratic Party. But anyway, this just shows you this is how you lose. And this is why we always lose, because we're not conservative enough. It's not that we're not agreeable enough. It's that we're not disagreeable enough.
Right.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. We have to be, that's how you do. Listen, I invite all of you, 432 people that are watching right now, tune in on Sunday morning, watch me preach. I am disagreeable. I am not agreeable. I do not give an inch. I am not compassionate because I don't read it in the Bible. If it's not in the Bible, I've had somebody come up to me recently and they didn't come up to me, schedule an appointment, talk to me, to basically tell me how mean I was. And I just told her, yeah, that went really well. I just told her to her face, do with the church what you will. I'm never changing. Have a good day. Actually, I quote, have a great rest of your Sunday. That's what I said. So that was that. I mean, I don't care if you think, I mean, she was all mad. I told her sister she was weird or something. I don't know. I don't care. You know why I told her sister she was weird? Because her sister's freaking weird. I don't even remember who her sister was. I have no idea. It was one of them. This church of 1,000 people. Now, it should be a church of 3,000, but 2,000 have left throughout the years. I mean, that's because they can't take it. Because I'm not agreeable. But here's the thing. Either's God.
Yep.
Does God give seed ground? Jesus said, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. That's agreeable. Wide and broad, Aaron, would you agree, is agreeable. I agree with this. I agree with that. Anybody can come. Here's the thing. Anybody can come. Aaron, see if you get this. Anybody can come to Jesus his way, but not all people can come to Jesus.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. You can't come to Jesus without coming to him his way. So he is not agreeable. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. That's it. That's the end of it. There is no other way. He is not agreeable. And the more agreeable you are to your opposition, who is Jesus's opposition? That would be the devil. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a father. He is a liar and the father of lies, yet because I tell you the truth, I do not believe you. Those two verses, John 8:44 and 45, are the living embodiment of the Democratic Party. You belong to your father, the devil. Doesn't mean that most Republicans are going to heaven. I don't know if that's the case. Not from what I've seen. But anyway, because it doesn't matter if you are a pro, F-250 driving, Second Amendment toting redneck, and you vote Republican every time, and you vote for Trump every time. Doesn't matter if you're still a drunkard. Understand? I mean that's the way that it is. But anyway, so Jesus is not agreeable. I mean, Jesus in John chapter 2, verse 15, made a whip of cords and drove all the money changers and hypocrites out of the temple. That's not agreeable. No. Agreeable would be like the modern church would have gone and said, we understand why you want to make money here, and we want to help you make money here. That would be the modern church. But could you accept Jesus while you're sinning? You can't. You can't. You cannot. That is just the way that it is. People may not like it, but that's the truth. And Republicans think that they are going to gain a constituency by compromising. You will never gain a constituency by compromising. It is the word of God. The word of God is preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort, with all long suffering and doctrine. 2 Timothy 4:2. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Revelation 3:15 and 16. If it works there, then it works everywhere. Do you ever notice how the Democrats are unrelenting? They're not compromising. They never come up to me and go, we understand why you're pro-life, and we want to help you to be more pro-life. They're never like that. They are 100% in. That's why they're winning right now. And we have a lukewarm, distracted base that's fighting each other about Israel. It's fighting each other about Charlie Kirk's assassination. All you need to do is be unapologetic about our key principles. You want to fight each other on the side about Israel, go right ahead. You want to fight each other on the side about Charlie. I definitely have definitive viewpoints on the Charlie Kirk assassination. It certainly was not Tyler Robinson.
Right.
But the thing is, I don't think like Matt Walsh agrees with me. But you know what? I don't need to completely and totally cast Matt Walsh to the side. He voted for Trump twice. Okay, it's the same. I mean, Glenn Beck doesn't agree with me on a lot. Doesn't mean I need to cast him aside. We agree on core principles, and all of us need to be unrelenting in core principles. That's what happened. That's why the church is falling apart. Church falls apart because the church is not unrelenting on core principles. They are not sticking to biblical, hardcore, etched in stone forever principles. They're not doing it. Churches compromise because they believe, just like the Republicans, that if you cede ground to the sinner, you'll win them. No, you've now won them to nothingness. You've now won them to hell because you've told the sinner you can keep on sinning and receive Jesus. That is not the case. That is nowhere in the Bible. As a matter of fact, how long, Aaron, could I spend quoting verses about that?
Probably hours.
Yeah, right now. We wouldn't be quoting the verses probably for hours, but I would quote one and then talk about it for the next 3 hours.
Right. Easily.
So that's the thing. So you see now, Al Green has gained 70 Democrats in 6 months to vote for Donald J. Trump's impeachment. Imagine if they are in the majority, what's going to happen? Impeached over and over and over and over again. Now, whether they can get a 60-vote margin in the Senate to confirm that impeachment is doubtful. But, but could they win the Senate? I don't know. And then the last thing off of the pregame, I know it's 9:20. I'm still talking about the pregame, and we haven't done a slide yet. But anyway, Bernie Thompson, I just have to talk about this very quickly, even though all of you have seen it. It's gone viral. Everybody's gone over it. I'm actually got a little section on it, too. I can't resist it, but I just have to talk about it real quickly here. Bernie Thompson calling when the National Guardsman was murdered, what are words that you can use? Murdered, assassinated, gunned down, shot to death, homicide, terrorist assassination. I don't know. Any others you guys think of? Throw them in. Let me know. What is Bernie Thompson. If I said Sanders, I meant Bernie Thompson. Former head of the J6 committee, which I could spend. Oh, man, I can't do it. If I open up doors on the J6 committee.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. How does he describe it? An unfortunate accident or an unfortunate situation. Not an illegal that Joe Biden allowed in the country unvetted from Afghanistan while claiming that he was vetted, and Bernie Thompson then tries to blame it on Kristi Noem because Trump is actually the ones who signed off on his paperwork for him to remain in the United States, but it was with all of the verification that was never done by the Biden administration that they claimed was done. So this was a man that gunned down shot two National Guardsmen, killed one, shot it right in the head. And Bernie Thompson, this is what it means to be a Democrat. I know there's no Democrats that are watching, but maybe one or two stumble on the show. I just wonder how it is that you can affirm yourself as a Democrat, that you can feel good about being a Democrat when one of your leaders characterizes the assassination, the murder, the terrorist attack, the terrorist murder of a National Guardsman on the street of D.C. as an unfortunate accident. How exactly was it an accident? Accident is something that you didn't mean to happen. When you walk up to somebody and you double tap them or single tap them in the head. That's not an accident exactly, Bernie. And that's how disgusting these people are. Speaking of disgusting, let's get to our first slide. Paul A. Sapula video. Rep. Tim McBride, who goes by, Aaron, can you side by side that? Rep. Tim McBride, who goes by Sarah McBride. I just want to characterize this because once we get into this, I might not be able to, Aaron can always bring him back up. But anyway, this is a fully penis guy. I just want everybody to know that. I don't know if he wears tuckums or whatever he wears, or maybe he ties a little string to the end of it and then ties it up somehow to his waist. I don't know what he does. But anyway, this is a fully penised man who wants to remain fully penised. I wonder why it is, because he gets off on dressing as a woman. Aaron has coined the phrase. I can't remember what it is. But there is a specific sexual, I don't know what you call it, perversion or hang up.
Yeah, like a kink.
Yeah, a sexual kinkiness that there are men who like to dress up as women. They are actually interested in women. Think about the unbelievable hoax that this is. Think about the game that they're running. So they have now convinced the entire Democratic Party that their kinky sexual perversion is giving into it or taking it to fruition is mental health. But anyway, they have now convinced the entire Democratic Party that this is right, that this is mental health. A fully penis man walking around the halls of Congress using the women's restroom, or trying to, when it is a sexual perversion that they get off on. This is a guy who is I guarantee you, just like Leah Thomas was, Billy Thomas is the real name. Billy Thomas goes by Leah. Actually, William Thomas. What do you think?
Gynephilia.
Autogynephilia.
Yeah.
So that's what Timmy suffers from, and that's what Leah Thomas suffered from too, who's actually William Thomas, who I like to call Billy, and this is Timothy McBride, who I like to call Timmy. They have autogynephilia. They are actually sexually attracted to women. It turned out that Leah Thomas, I'm just using that so everybody knows who I'm talking about, was dating women the entire time he had leached his way into the women's restroom. Actually, worse, locker room, a swimmer's locker room where everybody's taking things on and off all the time. He leached his way into that room so that he could watch women undress who he's sexually attracted to. Timmy wants to do the same thing. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you lop it off? If you hate being a man, you hate it so much, why would you not say, hey, I can't wait to lop off my penis and testicles? But you don't do it. Why is that? Why is it that Timmy keeps it? Because Timmy's hoping for a glimpse, man. Timmy's hoping for a glimpse. Again, you can ask Brent, who's a cop in Cincinnati for many years. I was a cop right here in Sarasota County, Florida for 25 years. Ask him. Ask him. Ask any cop you know. How many female perverts did you ever arrest? How many female pervert calls did you ever take? 0. For me, he was 0. I'm 0. And we got about 35 years between us. 0 female pervert calls. But guys like this, though. Look at this. Look at where our country is. This person was elected to Congress. This is a fully penis man walking around the halls of Congress. I didn't mean to get off into that, but I can't resist it. But anyway, Paul A. Spool video. This is actually about economics, but I just have to show you the absurdity of the Democratic Party because Timmy McBride here is going to espouse that Trump doesn't care about affordability, the affordability crisis that his party caused. Play it for me.
First of all, the idea that the American people aren't hearing enough from Donald Trump right now beggars belief. I think everyone in this country hears enough from Donald Trump, and having him go out on the road and stand in front of a sign that says affordability isn't changing that. It also doesn't change the fact that they have no plan to tackle the affordability crisis, and that Donald Trump himself has continued to deny this crisis, calling it a hoax. I think his handlers in the White House are making the same mistake that his handlers in Trump 1 made, which is thinking that they can put together these events and keep this president on message in the way that they want him to be on message. He is always going to speak what he believes, and what he clearly believes right now is that he's doing a great job, that prices are fine, that the economy is working well, and that everyone should just...
So let's just break down this propaganda for just a moment. First of all, you have, as a Democrat, I just ask any traditional Democrat out there, is there any left at all? And the odds of them watching this podcast are slim and none. But anyway, any traditional Democrats, how do you feel about that being your spokesman? And all of those of you that supported the Ukraine war, when they had that, it was basically the same looking guy. Same looking guy was the official military spokesman for the Ukrainian military, was a trans dude, a fully penis guy dressed as a woman. That was who was actually speaking to the world on behalf of Volodymyr Zelensky's army, or actual entire military. I'm just curious about how people think, oh, I'm fine with it. Really, how are these people ever going to fight in a war, for one thing? But look at Timmy here. Timmy's talking about the affordability crisis. Well, when did that start? Well, that started obviously under the Biden regime, where you had inflation through the roof. Oh yeah, there it is. This is the guy right here. This guy used to speak for Volodymyr Zelensky's military. I mean, and how long would it go on there? At least for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2 years until podcasts like this one and a myriad of others came out and just blasted him. He got so much pressure, they took him down.
And an American citizen.
Yeah, this is an American citizen. I mean, do you ever think about how freaking weird this country's gotten? This obviously was dispatched from our military or from the Biden regime. This idiot right here, this it of a person was actually dispatched to Ukraine to be the spokesman. I mean, this is a CIA op, State Department op, USAID op, CIA op, whatever it may be, was dispatched to be the spokesman for the Ukrainian military. And I'm just curious how how can you think that you're sane? How can you think that you're sane when this is your spokesman? And now you have Tim McBride talking about the affordability crisis that was totally and completely caused by his own president. But think of the dichotomy of it. While that was going on, now he's claiming there's an affordability crisis. But while Biden was president, whether it was him or all the other Democrats, they were claiming there was no affordability crisis and that the economy was great. What is the truth of the economy right now? Newsmax video, Carl Hibbig, Trump understands the economy. Play it for me.
The highest and lowest cost states to live in. Here we go. California, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Washington, D.C. All weird Democrat-run states and the highest cost to live in. Who saw that coming? And look at the lowest cost of living. Oklahoma, Kansas, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia, and Texas. Weird. What does that also look like? Yeah, those states all voted red. They all voted for Trump. And the more affordable states seem to be very closely mirroring the red states you see here. I mean, strange, right? So Democrats might tell you that they're for affordability, but in practice, they make nothing more affordable. I mean, look at this, 2015. Those real wages are declining into Trump's presidency, okay? January, and not until January of 2017, he takes office, and then they start rising consistently for 4 years until 2020. Oh, look, they dip dramatically. They rebound slightly only once Republicans take control of Congress and rein in his radical spending. I mean, like, there is a pattern here. Trump up, Biden down. Trump Republican, Biden Democrat. Like, Trump understands the economy probably better than anyone since Reagan. Probably how he became a billionaire.
Our trade deficit is way down. Trump has secured $17 to $20 trillion worth of foreign and domestic investment into the economy. Real wage growth is up $1,200 in 1 year alone. Here it is. I mean, again, Democrats, please deny this. You see when Hussein left office. Hussein left office right there, 2017. How is real wage growth going? Horrible. Then Trump takes office and it goes down. I wonder if anybody can guess when it was that Joe Biden took office. Because you see the Mount Everest downhill slide? That would be when Joe Biden took office, and then how that was. Now, I'm just wondering, where was Timmy at that time? Where's Timmy McBride? Where was he at the time talking about affordability during that time? Now look at what's happened just since Trump took office again. Real wage growth through the roof. I mean, this is undeniable, irrefutable statistical data. This is what is actually true. But yet, when you're going to have somebody who's fully penis, dressed up as a man, dressed up as a woman, in women's clothes, there he is again. There you go, before and after. That's him. He's still the same guy. Just look at him as a guy. You know, he's a perv, an effeminate, perverted guy who could never get a woman on his own. So now he has to dress up as one so he can hope to get a glimpse of one in a locker room. That's what come on. We all know that's who Timmy is. We all know that's who Timmy is. He's one of those guys, you can just tell by looking at him. He's one of those guys that's super socially awkward, and that when women see him coming, they know he's going to ask them out because he asks them out every day. And they're like, we're out. So what is he going to do? He's very attracted to women. Well, he's going to become one so that he can leech his way into locker rooms and women's spaces and maybe get a glimpse. And I could be a lot grosser, but I'll leave it at that for now. For now. But anyway, that just shows you the truth of the economy. Let's go to the next one. Therefore I am. This is a video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Breaking Oklahoma BLM executive director. Get this name, Aaron. Tashela Cherie Amory Dickerson. So she's got 4 names.
Yeah.
So anyway, Oklahoma BLM executive director, who, let me just give advice once again, who needs to mix in a salad every now and then. I'll just leave it at that. And then I just feel bad for whatever's growing in the folds. Growing in the folds.
Salad.
Disgusting.
Yeah, the salad, the previous salad that she had sat in there and has grown another salad.
Oh, mushrooms.
Occasionally, one of those folds has to open up and a big whiff of something comes out. Because, you can't keep the folds closed all the time. Eventually, you're going to you put your arms up, whatever, the fold just opens up and it's like, oof.
Fold cheese.
Yeah, fold cheese, she has, all of us have one taint. Okay, she's got like 70 of them. She's got like 70 taints she's got to deal with. She's got to make sure all those taints are washed all the time. There's one, a 2. She's that. He does like an elephant washer. Elephant was in the shower to get all those taints. 74 taints. But anyway, what did she do? Well, has been federally indicted on 25 counts after prosecutors said she diverted more than $3.15 million in returned bail checks. Remember that? Remember Minnesota Freedom Fund? That was actually touted by Kamala Harris. Remember that? Kamala Harris was actually advertising for everybody to give the Minnesota Freedom Fund so that they could bail out looters and arsonists and vandals and cop murderers. Remember that? Well, this is one of those people. Well, some of that money that Kamala Harris was asking everybody to give actually went into the pocket of Tashella here and her 74 taints. Play for me.
We're going to have to lift our voices and stand for one another like we never have before. Because at this juncture in this country, we are watching the systems of white supremacy, fascism, classism, and all of the hatred and vitriolic tactics used.
The indictment claims that Dickerson spent the funds on recreational overseas trips, certainly wasn't spent on exercise equipment, for herself and her associates, tens of thousands of dollars in retail purchases, a personal vehicle registered in her name, and 6 properties in Oklahoma City. This is amazing. This is like Patrisse Cullors, same thing. And where did Patrisse Cullors move in? To a white neighborhood. Yeah. According to the DOJ, the indictment further alleges that Dickerson used interstate wire communications to file 2 falsified annual reports with the Alliance for Global Justice on behalf of BLM and OKC. I just want to say, where do the Republicans ever do anything like this? George Santos got 8 years for giving to his own campaign $55,000. I mean, Democrats, how do you look at yourself in the face? You've got the $2 billion pouring out of Ilhan Omar's district. And I didn't even know this because it looks like I might not get to it, but Ilhan Omar was actually responsible for Feeding Our Future. She's the one who founded that organization. And then all the people, not all the people, 3 of the people that have been found guilty of that Feeding Our Future fraud to the tunes of millions of dollars were all in her district. I'm just wondering how it is that she became somebody who entered her political life in, it was just 2019. Her political life worth $65,000. And now 6 years later, not even 6 years later, five and a half years later, is now worth $30 million. When she founded the organization that stole $400 million of taxpayer money. I'm just curious how she got $30 million. Anybody want to know? I mean, I would like to know.
Yeah.
Harkening back to 2020, just reminding of Democrat, another Democrat party-controlled city, Annie No video. And this is like, I can't help but show you these things because it exposes who the Democrats are. Even though this is not from a couple years ago. This is happening right now. Under oath at trial in Seattle, this is about Chaz Chop. Remember that when Democrats allowed people to take over a portion of the city, put up barricades, and run and have a new city, an autonomous zone. They weren't the only city. Of course, it was all Democrats, not one Republican. Again, how do you look at yourself in the mirror as a Democrat and think that you're righteous? Under oath at trial in Seattle, where the family of a black teen is suing the city for their boy being shot dead. Why was he in, Chaz? Oh, well. Shot dead by Chaz leftist border guards. Probably tried to escape. In 2020, Seattle police confirmed they were given stand-down orders to not enter the BLM Antifa occupation. Play for me.
So, Detective Cruz, on June 29th, 2020, you were notified of this shooting at around 4 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what time did you arrive at the scene?
7:45, I believe it was.
So that's probably close to a 5-hour delay. Is that correct?
3 a.m. was the time of the call, I believe. And then we arrived at 7:45. It's 4 hours, 45 minutes approximately.
Did you request immediate access to the scene?
I was immediately told that I did not have access to the scene.
So why is it that it took approximately 5 hours to enter the scene?
There was an order for us to not enter the scene.
Where did that order come from?
Came from Chief Mahaffey.
How did that make you feel?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
So did you agree with Chief Mahaffey's order?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You're not allowed to ask a daggum question. How'd they make you feel? Objection. Why? Did you agree? Objection. And both of them sustained, of course, because it's a leftist judge and a leftist jurisdiction. What'll happen here is they'll buy off this victim, give him some sort of settlement, and then everyone will forget about the very fact that people took over city blocks in Seattle and Democrats let them do it. And one of The results of that was a teen was shot dead there who wanted to be there, but then was shot dead by the people he agreed with, which is typical Democrats. But Brent and I were talking about this because, boy, both of us have responded code to calls many times in our lives in police cars. And, a long one would be, I don't know what it was like in Cincinnati. They probably had more cops. We were kind of spread out here, more of a rural area. But, man, you certainly would never take 4 hours and 45 minutes to respond to a murder scene. It wouldn't take 4 hours and 45 minutes for the entire forensic unit to be there. Everybody knows how this works. I mean, you probably know. Got some other cops at least one other cop I know is in the chat, so he knows. Whatever kind of homicide it is, whether it's vehicular or actually murder or whatever it may be, suicide. Here's the thing. What happens is the road officer, the patrol level officer goes dispatch to the call. They see it, they witness it, they then secure the scene. Before even they're securing the scene, they've already made a call to the detective bureau. So the detective bureau, some poor guy like Brent was a detective in Cincinnati, and you did murders too, didn't you?
Yeah.
So he did murder scenes. So they then get the call at 3 o'clock in the morning, which I'm sure he loved. 3 o'clock in the morning, your pager goes off, your cell phone goes off, you get up, get dressed, you go to the scene. All of that wouldn't take 4 hours. I mean, all of it. I'm right from the scenes that I was on. I mean, you're talking about, first of all, the cop getting there, and multiple cops would be there in somewhere between 1 and 10 minutes. This year in Seattle, under Chief Mahaffey's leadership, Democratic Party activist, it took 4 hours and 45 minutes because he gave a do not access command. You are not allowed in there. And as Aaron brought this up, this is now happening in all the Sharia law zones, and Muslim zones, and Islamic zones in the United States and in Great Britain and probably numerous other locations also. But he was ordered not to go into the scene. So nobody went in to investigate. I can't imagine the crime scene was at all damaged. I can't imagine anybody actually did. I imagine the crime scene was not contaminated at all.
No.
In 5 hours.
Of course not.
I mean, I'm sure that people didn't arrange the evidence to benefit themselves. Right. Probably why nobody's been prosecuted. I mean, I'm not sure if people have been or not. But so anyway, I mean, it's just truly that right there is another summation of Democratic Party leadership. All right, let's go to the next one. Truth Teller video. He'll talk about Kristi Noem for just a moment. The murder of 2 National Guards and Democrats are being called an accident. Play it for me.
It is a fact that you ignored federal court orders in March and in May of this year. Do you plan on ignoring more federal orders?
I'm
sick of your lies, and the American people demand the truth.
Because you keep saying it doesn't make it true.
I am sick of your lies. The American people are sick of these lies. American people demand truth.
America is very happy that finally they have a president in the White House that gets up every day to keep them safe.
Madam Secretary, your incompetence and your inability to truthfully carry out your duties of Secretary of Homeland Security, if you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
it was a terrorist attack.
Wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation.
I think it's shameful to see the defense of individuals who break our laws. We are a nation of laws. If we are not a nation of laws, we're no nation at all. And that is what we are doing every day, is following laws. If you guys don't like the law, go change it. That's your job. You don't complain. I was raised by a dad who said we don't complain about things. We fix them. Well, go fix them. If you don't like the law, quit bellyaching, quit hitting and attacking our ICE officers, quit going out and protesting and screaming vile things at them, quit calling them names. We wouldn't let our children do that. Go do something that actually matters by having an honest debate and changing the law. That's your jobs. You all should be fired, in my view.
Let's cross a very important bridge first, shall we? It's very important. It's ask. He's a racist. I don't care anymore. We played the video in the pregame of everybody wanting to kill white people. Bring it on. I won't give my address this time, Aaron.
No, thank you.
Aaron will kill me. Speaking of killing white people, Aaron will kill this white person. It is ask. It is not axe. Axe is what you use to cut down a tree. Ask is a question. Okay, so I just want to cross that bridge. You're welcome to public service that, it's and for free by the TLP. That was for free.
Thank you.
So anyway, and then at the beginning of the video, when you're listening to that Indian-born Hindu moron questioning Kristi Noem, that is, again, another embodiment of being a Democrat, of the Democratic Party. You have this guy talking like this. I believe that you have done a horrible job, Secretary Noem.
That's pretty good.
Take your accent and yourself, shove your head up your own rectum. What, first of all, why is this guy even here? Please move back to India. He's also the guy that was caught abusing all the animals too. Remember that? I don't remember the specifics, so I don't want to say false things, but he was the one caught with abandoning all the lab animals in the laboratory and letting them all basically until somebody got there and saved them, and they were all starving to death. But anyway, I digress. All right, where the heck am I, guys? I lost it with my whole act spiel. All right, Western Lensman. Let me see. Oh, Bernie Thompson is asked about his grotesque, unfortunate accident National Guard shooting comments on CNN. Play for me.
She, in the back and forth with you, she called you out when you were speaking and asking her a question, and you called the shooting and killing of the National Guard member that happened recently an unfortunate accident. You then called it an unfortunate situation. The man is charged with first-degree murder. Congressman, do you believe it was an accident?
Oh, absolutely not. And obviously, let me be clear. I was moving toward the discussion that she could not blame Joe Biden on the situation because she approved this person's asylum application. And that's where we were headed. And so
you're saying you
the
misspoke?
issue is, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. On health care, I do.
No, there you go. There you're blaming the Trump administration for the Afghan. Again, they approved their asylum application that was filled out by the Biden administration. And there's thousands of them. And I'm not saying they should have. I don't know what the procedures are, and certainly wasn't Kristi Noem herself. But that person has been in the country for years before their asylum application ever even sat on the desk of the Trump administration, in the DHS office, obviously. All right, here we go. Vince Langman video titled "Morning Ghetto Trash." Here's LaMonica MacGyver versus Kristi Noem. Play it for me.
So I'll ask you this. Is Trump embarrassed by your tenure, or is this exactly the kind of god-awful leadership he wants at DHS? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we've already conducted more oversight visits.
No. It's a yes or no. Yes or no. Okay, Secretary Noem, this is my time to talk, not your time to talk. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time.
Transparent
Chair, I reclaim my time.
We've ever had.
Secretary Noem, DHS is breaking the law, hiding information from Congress and shutting out oversight. So let me ask you, how can the American people trust your department with you at the helm with this kind of behavior?
The American people absolutely trust this department to keep them safe. And we are showing that every day by the support we get across the country, the amount of people that we're recruiting to all of our different agencies.
Thank you, Secretary Noem. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
Excuse me, would you say that
You
again?
would have heard me if you stopped talking and listened to my questions.
Crazy,
Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
We are not doing that. We are out there enforcing the law, doing our work, and we are allowing oversight.
Of course, we're not going to get any answers. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
There you go. And now let's just go. Let's remind everybody who LaMonica MacGyver is. Why it is that she is so upset with Kristi Noem and DHS is because she battered federal officers on video. And she's being prosecuted for it. Hopefully, all the other prosecutions are being thrown out because they're in Democratic Party districts. Letitia James just got thrown out. Her indictment got thrown out. Who am I forgetting? Comey got thrown out because they're all in Democratic Party districts. That is the status of our judicial system, which is why I'm never going in unless I can get a fair trial. If I can't get a fair trial, I'm not going in. All right, Western Lensman video. Here's why she's so upset at DHS. Play for me.
We really have no idea. As mentioned, I, along with Congressman Menendez and Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman, was there to literally do our jobs. We are members of Congress. We are able to show up and do oversight statutory visits, and that's what we were there for. And then all of this commotion happened. We were trying to figure out why they were so hostile, why they were so aggressive, why they were pushing and shoving, and why all of this happened. And quite frankly, why was the mayor arrested? Because we're totally confused as to what was going on and why that happened. And no one gave us any answers. We asked them repeatedly. We've been in contact with both Senator Booker and Kim to get answers from Homeland about what took place. And literally, we got no information.
And that's why she's so upset. You can all see it on video. She's talking about how it got, how things got so tumultuous. Well, because you're shoving people. Nobody was shoving her. I mean, nobody was shoving her. She was shoving people. And she's being criminally prosecuted for it, but it's under Lena Haba, and Lena Haba's confirmation or her assignment is being questioned also. And that's what got the Comey indictment kicked out, is that they said that the prosecutor was not properly confirmed, was not properly assigned, whatever the terminology is. But anyway, all right, let's go on to the next one here. Change the subjects. Let's go. We got, the title of tonight's show was the Retard Coalition. Well, I got two members here in my little stack here. Rapid Response 47 video. Actual journalism from CBS News in the massive Somali fraud scandal in Minnesota, which incompetent Tim Waltz let it all happen. Stacks of cash, wire transfers to East Africa and China, luxury vehicles, homes, and vacations. Play for me.
A honeymoon in the Maldives, a fleet of luxury cars. Here's a box with more than $270,000 in cash. This was all evidence from a new trove of files obtained exclusively by CBS News, showing how a group of convicted Minnesota fraudsters spent taxpayer dollars. One text message reads, "You are going to be the richest 25-year-old.
We're not even at the end of the beginning of our pursuit of the stolen money and of the people who stole it."
U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen leads the office digging into the wave of COVID-era fraud that hit Minnesota.
So how much money are we talking about stolen from the American taxpayer?
I can say with great comfort, well in excess of $1 billion.
In the past 3 years, 87 defendants have been charged, 61 convicted. The majority of them are Somali American. Minnesota has the nation's largest Somali population. The perpetrators are accused of ripping off state-run programs intended to feed low-income kids, house the disabled, and provide services to autistic children.
This was a get-rich scheme.
Andy Luger was the U.S. attorney who first examined this fraud. He left in January.
One of the things we discovered is that a number of the people involved were buying investment property, resort property in Kenya.
Wire transfers reviewed by CBS News also show more than $1 million went to Chinese banks. The Trump administration has said it's investigating whether any of the money fell into the hands of terror groups like Al-Shabaab in Somalia.
Do you want to hear more from members and leaders from the Somali community to say, we need to look at ourselves, we need to hold our own neighbors accountable, because look at the damage that this has done to our community. What do you want to hear more from, instead of just saying, don't blame us? Do you want to see more ownership and oversight from within the Somali?
Look, it's not law-abiding citizens. If that were the case, there's a lot of white men should be holding a lot of white men accountable for the crimes that they have committed. I think for the community to maybe educate their population, because I think what you're seeing here is there's secondary victims in this, that there's providers inside the community that are then victimizing the community themselves by signing them up, because when we're going to some of these people, they're like, I had no idea I was in this program. So I think it's asking us then, for every crime, which of course the majority being committed by white men, asking us to do more about that. I think it's crime in general. And I think the biggest thing on this is just making sure that we're educating the population. And again, this is 80 people or so that have been convicted in this, maybe some more in that.
You see, the whole key on this thing, and Fuentes was doing this to Piers Morgan, is the key is per capita. That's the key. Do white men commit fraud? Of course they commit fraud. But let's ask this. Per capita, how many white men, white institutions, institutions run by white men per capita commit a $2 billion fraud scheme where people are buying resort property in Kenya. Per capita, Timmy, because this is the same thing Timmy says about opening the borders, 15,000 people per day. Everyone needs to remember that. Per day under the Biden administration at its height. Unvetted, poured into the country on planes, on buses, provided by the Biden administration. Because it's the same exact argument they use there where they say, well, you know what? Yes, okay. Yeah, I mean, your daughter was raped, but you know what? She could have been raped by a United States citizen too.
Right.
That's what they always say. Well, here's the thing. We know for sure that she would never have been raped by the guy she was raped by because that person was allowed in the country. If he was never allowed in the country, we know for sure she would never have been raped by him.
Yep.
Or killed in a DUI accident by him because he was allowed in the country by idiots like Tim Walz. And again, it's per capita. And this is an absolute dismantling. I mean, Piers Morgan looked like an out of touch, I don't even know what, cuck boy. I mean, absolute out of touch cuck boy. Fuentes, I don't agree with everything Fuentes believes or says. I'm just telling you, he absolutely dismantled him because Fuentes was talking about mass shooters and school shooters, and he said that most of the school shootings are committed by white men. Here's the problem, and this is where Fuentes missed it. First of all, 7 out of the last 10 mass shootings at a school or a school shooting were committed by trans shooters, and the other 3 were non-binary. So we can just go ahead and say every school shooting, 10 out of the last 10 school shootings were committed by trans individuals, unless I've missed some that have happened since that stat came out. So, and funny that Pierce didn't say anything about that, although he's pretty decent on trans issues for the most part. But where Fuentes destroyed him was, he goes, okay, white men commit most school shootings. But what's the percentage of shootings committed by white men? What's the percentage of white men that commit shootings in comparison to the percentage of black men that commit shootings? Because we know that 13% of the population commits 60% of all violent crime. So per capita, and 97% of black men are shot by who, Aaron?
Black men.
By other black men.
Yep.
You know, the number one cause of death in the black community is Democrats via abortions. And the number one cause of black men dying of murder are other black men, to the degree of 97% of all black murders are committed by black men. So per capita, how many white men commit murders or mass shootings in comparison to black men? And Pierce comes up with, it turns out that the per capita statistic for school shootings between white and black are identical. So he ends up defeating himself and thinking he's right still. I mean, these people are truly unbelievable. And I just want to ask everybody something. Who buys resort property in Kenya?
For real.
I just have to ask everybody that. I just don't get it. All right, Greg Price video. Tim Walz pushes the lie that Trump administration deported a combat veteran. Play for him.
Obviously, they took American citizens. They deported a U.S. combat veteran who served this nation in uniform and deported him to South Korea, a country he has not been in since he was 8 years old.
Okay, what really happened? Does anybody know? Well, what happened was that combat veteran deported himself to South Korea because his illegal relatives were deported, so he deported himself. That's what happened. Again, 547 people on. Thank you so much. It's a lot of people for a Friday night. I'm just curious, if you're a Democrat, how does this resonate with you? I mean, how do you feel pride in being a Democrat when Tim Walz just comes up and lies? I mean, that was just a bold-faced lie. The Trump administration deported a combat veteran. He self-deported. Just like they said that the moms, remember the moms that were deported that were United States citizens? They weren't deported. Their children were deported. So they deported themselves. I can't imagine that. I mean, they all told us the vaccines were voluntary, remember? We couldn't have a job without them. So we just they're voluntarily deporting themselves. Of course, we're deporting their kids, but, you know, I love it. It's voluntary. Go ahead, deport yourself. That's what actually happened. All right, let's go on to, got some more on, I actually don't think I've hit Newsom yet, have I? Nope, I haven't hit Newsom yet. Here we are, Coalition, the Retard Coalition. Here really is the leader the grand poobah of the Retard Coalition is Gavin Newsom himself. Speaker Mike Johnson video. Remember when the media lied repeatedly and said Democrats do not give health care to illegal aliens and didn't want to? Is that the case? Play it for me.
As it relates to undocked health care, yeah, I'm proud of that because I believe in universal health care. You know, others may say it. I did it. First state in the country, regardless of pre-existing conditions, ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. I promised that. I promoted it. I ran 3 times on it. I did it when I was mayor. People know who I am.
So I'll get to that in a minute, but let's look at this Mays video, Gavin Newsom. How did that work out? Play it for me.
Campaign on universal health care. We're delivering that. We are implementing our ideals. We are manifesting this principle, this fundamental notion that so many of us have been preaching for years and years and years. Universal health care for all, regardless of pre-existing condition, regardless of the ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. If you care not just about values and principles of morality, but if your only values and principles are advanced through economics, then that alone should be an argument in favor of universal health care, a pathway and a framework for 1.1 million undocumented residents in the state of California to avail themselves to high quality, comprehensive medical care, long-term, short-term, preventative, as well as in-home support service care and coverage.
Now, Newsom says California is facing a $12 billion deficit. Governor is proposing freezing enrollment in state-funded health care for undocumented immigrants.
You know, when the program started, it was supposed to cost about $3 billion a year, and that ballooned to $11 billion last year. So the governor is freezing new entries into it and making those, or asking those people who are already in it to pay. Take a look.
We are moving forward with making decisions that not only address the concerns this year related to the $11.9 billion, but mindful that we need to tighten things up. We believe that people should have some skin in the game as it relates to contributions. So we are looking to a monthly premium. We are asking for something we ask all taxpayers of California.
I'm out here in California, and Gavin Newsom for the last 2 years spent $22 billion on health care for illegal immigrants, and then had to go to the federal government for a $4 billion bailout because actually we cannot afford to give illegal immigrants health care. So it ends up being on the back of the American citizen and costing the tax-paying American citizen their health care and their benefits. So the federal government will not have the same bailout, and that's a non-negotiable issue for the American people.
Major economic consequences as a result, and the longer this goes on, the bigger hit we see to the economy. We're going to be talking to our good friend Austin Goolsbee about that coming up. He'll join us.
So again, and I don't mean to be redundant with this stuff, but you'll hear it all the time. You'll hear it on the 5 with Jessica Tarloff, and they'll argue back and forth and saying, that, or Abby Phillips on CNN, whatever. You'll hear them. I mean, Abby Phillips going at Scott Jennings. No, they went back and forth, and Scott Jennings was just like, yes, they did. Yes, they did. She's going, no, no federal dollars were spent on illegals, Medicaid. Okay, or Medicare, however you want to put it. No federal dollars were spent on illegals for health care. I'll put it that way. And Scott Jennings, yes, they did. And she goes, no, they didn't. Yes, they did. No, well, okay, because what Abby Phillips is either an idiot, which is a strong possibility, or ignorant and just doesn't know any better. Because, of course, what they do is just, of course, using the largest state in the union run by Democratic Party morons or the Retard Coalition, is they take the federal Medicaid dollars, put that into a state fund, because who's bailing out his state fund? If it was simply a state fund that's going to healthcare for illegals, then why is the federal government bailing out his state fund? But what they do is take the federal dollars and put it into a state fund called Medi-Cal, and that state fund funds illegal healthcare for illegals. So Abby Phillips and Jessica Tarloff and Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker and all the other Democrats can say, no federal dollars are going to illegal health care. because the federal dollars go into the state health care fund that then pays for the illegals' health care. That's the game. That's the entire game. And Gavin Newsom has spent $22 billion on illegal health care in the last 4 years, to the place where now he's turned a budget surplus into a deficit, and he's asking his nemesis for a $4 billion bailout. In a country that's $38 trillion in debt. What is, Aaron, help me with the words. How is it? How is it that you sit there and you ask for a bailout when our country looks like this? How is it that we're even discussing sending foreign countries money?
Right.
How is it that we're even thinking about sending Israel its usual $4 billion per year? Why? How? In the country that's richer per capita than we are.
Yeah.
By far. So why is that? How is this even ever a discussion? Does everybody, 573 that are watching, does everyone understand what I'm saying? Why is it even a discussion that we're talking about not ending certain programs? Why is it that there's no Doge number here anymore? Why is it that Elon has been deported out of D.C. when we had the Department of Government Efficiency cutting this? Why? And look at that number. $38 trillion is the worst October in the history of America that just passed. Back to our Retard Coalition, Gavin Newsom. Paul A. Sapula video, Gavin Newsom says he wants to see trans kids. Play it for me.
We didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. Your position being that? I don't think it's fair. I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson. There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate for the LGBTQ community.
So let me ask you another question. What does that mean that you want to see trans kids? I know, what he's trying to do there is use ass point blank, basically, point blank by a leftist interviewer. But anyway, but what Gavin Newsom is trying to say there is that he doesn't feel that it's fair for men to compete in women's sports because he's trying to be president. And he would obviously lock, stock, and barrel votes the exact opposite way, but then says the opposite of how he votes. And just his wife. Her cause in life is to lop off penises. That is, I don't know if she keeps jars of them. I don't know what she does, but that's her cause in life is lop off penises and testicles and breasts of minors. That's what they love to do. These are absolutely demonic, wretched, horrible people. But he's trying to, because he's running for president, he's trying to say that he doesn't want men competing in women's sports without saying it, because as soon as he becomes president, he'll reverse it back to men competing in women's sports. And people like Tim McBride, Capitol Hill will be wide open for him to go, and as gynophilia, autogynephilia can be in full bloom on Capitol Hill as he goes into women's restrooms and gets off on it. And let me show you this important stat, Gavin Newsom. FBI, California, led the nation in active shooting incidences with the state that has strict gun control laws. That's weird, isn't it? That's odd, isn't it? Of course, that works that way every single time. Every time. Let me show you this one. Wall Street Apes video. This is the older millennial. The UK Labour government under Keir Starmer. I've got a whole thing on this stuff, man. What's going on in the UK? What's going on in the European Union with great countries like Poland and Hungary? And I'm like, you know what? We need to be rethinking. Aaron, see if you agree with me on this. I think we just need to be totally rethinking about who our allies are.
I totally agree.
I'm thinking we need to replace France and UK with Russia.
Yeah.
As our allies.
Yep.
I think we just need to say, you know what? Putin is certainly more Christ-like than they are.
Oh, yeah.
You still have an Orthodox church in Russia, don't in Ukraine. They still, whether they're corrupt elections or not, which I believe they are, they still have elections in Russia, but they don't in Ukraine. But yet we're fighting for democracy in Ukraine. And we've spent $350 billion in Ukraine to fight for democracy that doesn't exist. But anyway, UK Labour government under Keir Starmer just did two things. Listen to what these two things are. Play it for me.
The leadership of the United Kingdom just took two actions which should have the UK citizens putting in a call to the French to borrow their guillotines. If you're unaware, the leadership of the UK not only eliminated the right to jury trial, they just said, hey, I know constitutionally you're supposed to have a trial by jury, but that shit's taking too long, so fuck it. Like they just were like, you don't get a trial by jury anymore. And they did this without a vote, without a mandate, and without really any constitutional reasoning whatsoever. They just said, we're tired of it, so you don't get it anymore. We'll just let judges decide. No more of that pesky being, judged by your peers. And then on top of that, they were supposed to have elections next year, but the leadership was like, no, we kind of like being in power a little too much. So we're going to go ahead and move those elections to 2028. Like, this is full on dictator needs a revolution type shit. They took away their constitutional right to a trial by jury. And then because they didn't want to be kicked out of power, they just postponed the election. How the fuck are y'all not burning down Parliament?
You realize I think the EU and NATO will both go out of existence over the next year. I see no future for either of those organizations.
Okay.
For the reasons I've already cited.
Yeah.
I mean, Poles, they collectively despise the European Union. The Germans, who are usually blamed for the power and the influence of the European Union, are increasingly fed up with the European Union. The Italians want out. The Greeks would leave tomorrow morning. I mean, we just go down the list. Who are the people that are backing this stuff? It's the ones in the far west. The people like Sweden that wanted to get into this sort of thing. Now, the Norwegians, it was funny. Years ago, when I was serving at Supreme Headquarters of Allied Powers Europe, I asked a Norwegian general officer, I said, well, you're in NATO. Why aren't you in the EU?
Yeah.
He said, we will not be governed by Brussels. He said, people in Bergen in Norway who live north of Oslo don't trust anybody in Oslo. Why would they trust somebody in Brussels?
Right.
I think that's a good way to look at Europe right now.
Mm-hmm.
Europeans are in a fight for their existence, not with the Russians, with people inside their own country they never wanted. They were forced on them by the European Union, von der Leyen and her friends,
right,
and the World Economic Forum. Those people are the enemy, not Russia.
Right.
And that's the way more and more Europeans are seeing it.
I love the way that Douglas McGregor put it there. He goes, the Europeans are fighting for their lives, not against the Russians. It's not the Russians. I mean, I have a whole expose here on what I call cabal speech and what's going on there, which I can't dive into right now at 10:11. But anyway, the two things that were eradicated in the UK, they ended jury trial for mid-level crimes unilaterally without a vote. You're like, well, how can that happen? Who's going to stop them? It's the same thing that I say here about our corrupt criminal justice system. If someone wants to say Brent stole a motorcycle in a blue jurisdiction because they don't like him, they find out he goes to Foundation Church, so they don't like him. They associate him with me. So they say, you know what? He stole a motorcycle. He gets charged. What's called a probable cause affidavit is filed. State attorney who's blue files it on him because he's a Republican. And so there's a blue prosecutor, blue judge, blue grand jury who then indicts him. That goes to a blue jury trial. Everybody in the jury is blue. The appellate court is blue. The judge is blue. The prosecutor is blue. If you can't afford an attorney, the defense attorney, the state defense attorney, is also blue, who's advocating actually against him, not for him. But anyway, so that right there is our system. Now by the way, that is exactly how it is. Mm-hmm. I am not being hyperbolic. That is exactly how it is. That's how Comey got off. That's how Letitia James gets off. And that's why Trump was prosecuted and convicted of crimes that don't exist. Same thing with Michael Flynn. Same thing with Roger Stone. Same thing with Pierre Navarro. Same thing with Steve Bannon. But anyway, so back to Brent. So Brent didn't steal the motorcycle. Matter of fact, he has 10 hours of video footage showing that he was not even in the town or wasn't even in the country of where the motorcycle was stolen, where the incident occurred. And he shows it at trial and is still found guilty. Why? Because who's going to stop it?
Yep.
It's exactly what happened to Trump. Well, who's going to stop it here? They ended jury trials. Well, we're going to protest. Sis, boom, bah. We hate what you did. Okay, what does that do? And then they canceled local mayor elections. Again, this is funny, isn't it? Because they're sending their money into Ukraine to fight for democracy in a country that's canceled their elections, just like they did, canceled all opposition media and political parties. You can't be a political party that opposes Volodymyr Zelensky. And they're doing this all to save democracy, just like they are ending free speech to save democracy. It's actually called in the European Union as they end free speech and levy a $120 million fine onto Elon Musk. They're doing it under a program called Democracy Shield because they are defending democracy by banning free speech. They are protecting, they have put up a democracy shield by shielding democracy from the evils of free speech when democracy is founded on free speech. And if you ban it, there is no democracy. All right, 10:14, that's good. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend. Rumble Rants tonight. Nate Dad won $50. Thank you so much. Alligator Alcatraz, $20. Thank you so much. Hefner, $10. Thank you so much. Jules, $10. Thank you. Jules, 21 hours. $10. Thank you so much. Robin Aroni, $5. Thank you so much. Greg 9 Mom, who I met at church, also $5. Thank you guys so much. In the rant, thank you guys so much in the chat. Join us this weekend at Foundation Church. We had a lot of viewers, hovering around 600 people watching us live. Thank you guys so much. Join us this weekend at Foundation Church, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday morning. If I don't see you then, I'll see you Monday night at 9 o'clock as always. Oh, stick around for the post game. It is awesome. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. See you Sunday or Monday one last time. God bless you. The greatest in the kingdom of God is who? He who approaches him as a child. Matthew 18:4. He who humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Stop being so stoic. Listen, there's nobody more conservative, gun-toting, prepper, Ford truck driving, Trump supporting guy than me. But when the Lord enters the room, I will dance before the Lord with all of my might.
Have you ever had a question you were too afraid to ask? Or a thought you knew everyone was thinking but no one dared to say out loud? Welcome to the Hope Hotline, where nothing's off limits and we say what others won't. Real talk, raw truth, your questions finally answered.
Thanks for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you will get a free TLP koozie. Enjoy your favorite cold drink while tuning in to our latest takes on current events. Your support keeps us going. Donate now to claim yours.
My name's Jasmine Crockett, and I am officially running for U.S. Senate. Child, they tried to run me out my district, so I'm finna run up in this Senate, and I'm finna show these white folks I ain't scared of them. I ain't even doing this for me. I ain't even doing this for me. I'm doing this for the people of Texas, okay? See, they fail to realize that they're gonna put some respect on black people. Oh no. See, they don't want no black people up in there because they know we ain't playing. They know we ain't the ones to play with, okay? See, I'm gonna fix all this stuff, okay, in Texas. I'm gonna fix it all, and I'm gonna be the one to stand up to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, let me tell y'all something here. Child, he don't want me to be no senator. Child, he want them to be an all-white Senate, baby. Child, let me tell y'all something, okay? I'm gonna be the next Barack Obama. I'm gonna be the next female Barack Obama, because yes, we can. Because yes, we can. Because yes, we can.
محمد الجواني هيثم الغزالي خولة الجهين آمال الجهين محمد الجهين دعاء الحالمي ياسمين الهمومة أماني الحسين ندى علي سبا علي سجيد علي منير الجبلي عبد الله الجلال دينا الكني رانيا المدرخي عبد السلام المدرخي يونس المدرخي
How old is he now? 90? MashaAllah. He still can. Allahu Akbar.
Tickets, please, tickets. Well, you're coming? Never take the rest. You can ride for free. You bet.
Take one look at you, you're taking me out of the ordinary. I want you laying me down, dead and buried. On the edge of your night, staying drunk on you. The angels up in the clouds are jealous knowing we found something so out.